Well, 93.9%, that is the total stats of rape and sexual assault reported under GBV cases. 1 in 3 women have experienced sexual assault in South Africa in their lifetime. So with that being said, stop what you're doing right now. Check on your sister, check on your daughter, check on your mother, including every single female that you know living in South Africa. Because according to the World Health Organization, this country has the 4th highest gender-based violence death rate out of 183 countries in the world. Now, the femicide pandemic in the country begs to question the urgent response rate from government, including law enforcement authorities, while victims and survivors of gender-based violence reel that, of course, the justice system continues to fail them. Now, let's reflect for a moment right here on ENC. I'm talking about this year and this particular month, which would have made a 1-year anniversary death commemoration of Uyinene Mrwetyana. But the question is, how has the country been commemorating this month? Of course, Uyinene, a 19-year-old university of Cape Town who was brutally murdered, raped by, of course, Luyanda Botja, and her crime was to fetch a parcel at the post office in Claremont. But how has social media been, of course, commemorating this, death anniversary of Uyinene Mrwetyana? Let's see some of the comments that have been coming in on social media. We've got the first one here from Love Life. The NGO has tweeted saying her passing did not only affect her loved ones, but also everyone at large. GBV remains to be one of the biggest issues within the country. Hashtag Uyinene Mrwetyana remains within our hearts of as many as it has been a year since her passing. But of course, those comments still continue on social media. We're seeing right here at It's Callum Ryan, who tweeted, Uyinene deserved to live a whole life. She was only 19 years of age, one filled with love, success and happiness. A murderer and a rapist took that from her. So let her forever live on in our memories and our hearts. Rest in peace, Uyi. We've seen those comments still coming through, even from her loved ones, her friends. But this particular one also been tweeted by @MysteriousShark. Now they say hashtag Uyinene Mrwetyana was a 19-year-old university student who went to a post office to collect a parcel but never came out alive. How many of us walk out of our homes and we just don't know if ever we're walking into a death trap or not? But the tweet further continues saying she had to endure, of course, all of that by just simply going on to fetch her parcel. Now, let's see what some of the stats are saying now. A woman is murdered every 3 hours. We also know that 51% of South African women have experienced violence at the hands of someone with whom that they are in a relationship with, but also there 52,000 sexual offences and nearly 42,000 rapes were reported to the police. This just in 2019, just last year. So coming to this now. Phamela Bido is a survivor of gender-based violence, and for years she was beaten by her boyfriend before she decided to leave him. And Bido now joins us to share in her experience. Phamela, thank you so much for joining us right here on ENC. I mean, I can imagine how triggering this conversation can be. It's one that still needs to be had in terms of just highlighting the reality of victims and survivors of GBV. I want to start with your story. Take me through what happened in your relationship. What exactly happened to you at the hands of your loved one?
Hello.
Hi, Phamela. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ndiyakuva.
Yes, Phamela. I was just asking my question to you, Bana. What happened to you in your relationship? Because I understand that you also went through a similar situation where you were, of course, a victim at the hands of your loved one. What happened?
Okay. Thank you for asking me. Can I talk my
Yes,
language because I'm comfortable?
Feel free, yes.
Okay. Indibisenzeka kumne bendijolana le boyfriend yami ibin abuse ibinkhethela izinto amanxibe ntoni ibinthuzela ifriend. Sometimes xa ngiphume emsebenzini ngiphume u-10 and then sibekhiphuke maybe abantu abayi-90 and then sitshayise okanye later okanye ngo-1 and then xa ngifike endlini andibethe athi ndisuka kamanye amadoda ndiye ndanyamezela le nto isenzeka for ixesha elide and ndingaxelela even ii-sisters zam ndingaxelela even ii-friends even everyone close kum kodwa ndingafuni bamthathe and bendinethemba le nto uba kuzolunga one day. But I decided this year uba mandimyeke because kunabantu abaninzi besimame babulawayo ngamadoda amadoda. So which means akalumbe akasabaphinda yeke so that decide uyeke and uye wanifihla into ezininzi wayebethe intombazana before wavalelwa etrongo and then istory wasithethayo kum azange athethe into yoba wabethe intombazana. So ndahambe ndiyiva le then xa ndimconfronta ayiphiki bakhange kwenzeke loo nto leyo. So ndaqonda okay if le nto wayenzile before nakuma ngayenzi and ke mna kuzondibulala ndadecide uphuma kuye bekungekho lula uphuma kuye because bendimthanda. But ndaphuma njengangoku ndohlukene naye I'm single.
Yeah. Phamela, then have you ever tried ukuya to the police station to try and look for help? Have you been to the police station?
No, zange ndiye police station.
Yeah. Why didn't you go? Mhlambe, were you afraid ukubana they would not assist you? Because we have been reading within AMA media reports ukubana when AMA victims and AMA survivors go there, they don't necessarily receive the help that they need ngalo xesha. But for you, what was your fear behind reporting lo mntu?
I'm reportelayo and ndayigcinela kum and then I decided to tell my family go send ndiphuma kuye. No one and I'm reportelayo.
Yeah. And Phamela, you mentioned before, Bana, this is not the first time that he has laid his hands on a woman. You've heard before that he has laid his hands on other women. Do you know, as of to, if he has been, taken to prison, if he's still out estratini within the community, doing what he's still doing, has there been consequences for his actions?
Okay. Ndizocebisa kabantu abake bafumane abuse or umuntu oku-abuse now ne axelele umuntu okufutshana kuye angayigcini loo nto leyo ayiripoti police station because if uhleli umnika ichance umntela uzolunga uzoqhubekeka and then uzode akubulale then iphuma usaphelele and then waqala ukubetha kayi-1 uzoqhubekeka then iphuma.
In terms of your family then, Phamela, have you received support from your family?
Andiva?
Have you received support from your family? Phamela, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Benditi, have you received support from your family when you tell them, Bana, what happened to you at the hands of your boyfriend?
Yes, I tell my brother-in-law and I'm trying to spare ngale nto lebakwenzeka ntoni kume zange babelieve and then bendithuleleni for ixesha elingaka ndaxela even my twin sister and my big sister so bona bathi akho nto abazoyenza mandithathe idecision mna then nje ndadecide uphuma kuye.
Yeah. What about counseling? Yes. Have you received counseling, Phamela?
No.
You haven't received counseling so far?
I'm trying to get counseling.
Yeah. And every day, how do you then survive? I mean, I can imagine because for some survivors, Bati, when they hear the words gender-based violence, when they hear the stories about gender-based violence, they get triggered because they remember their own, personal experiences. When have you been dealing day to day without receiving a counseling with what happened to you? All right, unfortunately, we've just lost Phamela there. But we definitely understand what Phamela's been saying. Having been beaten by her boyfriend, continuously being abused by her boyfriend. But we also understand this is not the first time that this perpetrator has done what he has done to Phamela. He has done it to another woman before her. And she was also saying that she hadn't necessarily received a counseling, but the support was there from family when she tried to narrate the story to the brother-in-law, to the sisters who said that it's up to her to take a decision on what needs to be done. But we are talking about this pandemic, this plight against young women in South Africa, such as Phamela, at the hands of their loved ones. So, coming up then, we'll have a conversation with Elaine Pipers, the communications officer and ambassador to South African Women Fight Back. GBV activist Boitumelo Tage also joined us, but also we include Leslie Ngube, who's the spokesperson at the Total Shutdown Intersectional Women's Movement. Don't move, we'll be right back.